Hi, Timothy Carlson here. One of my all-time favorite rock and metal guitarists is Michael Schenker. Starting out as a member of the Scorpions when he was only 15 years old, going on to the band UFO and playing with them in their most successful years, and then of course later going on to start his own group, Schenker has rocked the world. He's been doing it for over half a century now. He remains an all-time favorite of mine, and one of my personal favorite periods of his career is the Michael Schenker group that he put together after leaving UFO and after having a brief second stint with the Scorpions. The Michael Schenker group's albums have been reissued in a brand new box set. This is the Michael Schenker group. Is It Loud Enough? 1980 to 1983. I'm going to unbox this release and I will share my opinions. Nice close-up there of the classic MSG logo and a photo of Michael in the background. Top of the box is just plain. Bottom of the box has our barcode. Side of the box has, again, that nice logo with the black and white flying V and the chrysalis logo down below. Here's the side of the package. This slides out. And again, on both sides, you got that beautiful looking MSG logo. And if I didn't show it off earlier, this is the back of the box. This is just a list of everything that's on all 6 discs in the box set. This is the 4 studio albums that this band made, plus 2 discs of Rarities, one of which being previously unreleased content. Just a brief disclaimer, this does not include the live albums. There were 2 live albums put out by this incarnation of Michael Schenker's band, One Night at Budokan and Rock Will Never Die. Those are not included here. So let's take a look at the albums we have here and just see what's in this collection. First of all, we actually get a pretty good-sized booklet. Nice shot of Michael on the back there. So there's some new essays and interviews, some rare photos of some of the things from Schenker's discography. There's a shot of Graham Bonnet with the group. And then you have lists of the albums themselves, who played on what record, who produced the albums, so forth. Now let's look at the actual albums that are in here. First of all, we have the Michael Schenker group, the first album, which came out in 1980. This album was produced by Roger Glover, the bass player from Deep Purple. And then inside each of the sleeves here, we have a secondary sleeve that actually holds the discs, and those look very nice. More nice shots of Michael there. And each one of the CDs is black and has the MSG logo on it, the chrysalis logo, track list. I'm not going to pull every single CD out, but they all look like this, and they do look very nice. The first album, of course, was an excellent start to Michael Schenker's career away from the Scorpions and UFO, giving us tracks like Armed and Ready, Cry for the Nations, Victim of Illusion, Feels Like a Good Thing, Lost Horizons. Great minor hits on this album, great deep cuts too. I also want to point out that the albums themselves do not have bonus tracks on them. All the bonuses are relegated to the final 2 discs. And that first album, like most of the subsequent albums, features Gary Barden on vocals, Chris Glenn on bass. And this album actually featured session drummer Simon Phillips. Phillips had previously been the drummer on Judas Priest's Sin After Sin album, which was also produced by Roger Glover. We then come to the sophomore album, quite possibly the best of the bunch, 1981's MSG. And they used the UK art here rather than the American art. The American art was just kind of like a generic MSG logo on a black background. I like how this one's actually got pictures of the band members. And then another shot on the back that identifies each band member by name. I like that. More band member shots here. This album was produced by Ron Nevison, who produced a lot of the Michael Schenker era UFO albums. Some amazing songs on this one, including the likes of Ready to Rock, Attack of the Mad Axeman, On and On. And even the ballad Never Trust a Stranger, which actually features Stephen Stills on backing vocals. I love all the MSG albums, but this might actually be my favorite of the 4 here, and believe me, it's not easy to choose one. And that album, of course, featured the late, great Cozy Powell on drums, one of my all-time favorites. The third album, Assault Attack, was the only one that was made without Gary Barden. This time they brought in Graham Bonnet, who was fresh off his stint in Rainbow, having sang on their Down to Earth album. This album is produced by Martin Birch, best known for producing Iron Maiden. And for this album, the band's drummer became Ted McKenna, who'd previously played with bassist Chris Glenn in the sensational Alex Harvey Band. This, again, very strong album. The title track, Assault Attack, was fairly popular, but then you have things like Dancer, Samurai, Desert Song, Rock You to the Ground. This is a phenomenal record. Graham Bonnet's one of my favorite singers. Unfortunately, he only made one album with Michael Schenker due to an infamous wardrobe malfunction on stage that cost him his gig. There's a story about that in the booklet. I'm not going to get into that here. The fourth and final album in the collection is Built to Destroy. This saw the return of Gary Barden on vocals, and the group also welcomed in Derek St. Holmes on vocals and additional guitar. St. Holmes best known for being a vocalist guitarist in Ted Nugent's band. And one of my favorite things about this set is this album was actually released in both American versions and UK versions. The original UK version, of course, was the first release of the album, but the US mix actually gave Derek St. Holmes slightly more prominent roles, including him doing some additional verse vocals on the song Still Love That Little Devil, whereas Gary Barden just sang the verses on the original. This includes both versions of the album on one CD, and that's very nice because older reissues often included just a few of the other mixes, or maybe like all but one. But here we get every track, both mixes. Easily one of my favorite things about this set. And if I didn't show it off earlier, here's the inner sleeve of this one. Got this nice black and blue artwork. This album also includes the instrumental Captain Nemo, which rock radio personality Eddie Trunk uses as the theme song to his radio show. And then we start getting into the Rarities discs. Disc 5 is demos and alternate versions. A lot of these tracks actually appeared as bonus tracks on earlier reissues of these albums. And then here you got that nice MSG logo again. On the back here you got pictures of some of the single releases, and those are very cool. But like here you get a bunch of 1979 demos, which actually included the likes of Billy Sheehan, who'd later go on to play bass for David Lee Roth and Mr. Big, and even Denny Carmassi, who's played with groups like Heart and Montrose. It's got the radio edit of Cry for the Nations, the version of Armed and Ready that appeared in Guitar Hero Metallica, and then a few other edits, monitor mixes, single versions. There's a close-up of the track list if you want to take a look. And the sixth and final disc in this set is simply entitled Unreleased. I like how they did that in the style of the old record company sheet. And then again, you kind of have that same record company sheet motif going on with the inner sleeve. Most of the songs on here are like, rehearsal takes, alternate takes, rough monitor mixes of songs. And I do have to say, there is some cool stuff here, but I will come out and say this. There's not going to be like some super rare revelatory track that's going to make this box set a must-own. If you don't already own these albums, this is certainly the release that you should get, but there have been so many releases of this material already. If you bought the standalone remastered versions of these albums with bonus tracks a few years ago, you probably have most of the bonus tracks that are in this set, not counting that disc of unreleased material. And then if you bought that Chrysalis Years 5 CD box set a few years ago, that actually has the live albums in it too, albeit not the remastered ones with bonus tracks. And that one even had some unreleased live stuff as well. So again, what it comes down to is this. Have you already purchased these albums before? If you have, if you already own some other release of the Michael Schenker Group's discography from 1980 to 1983, you really don't need to pick this release up because you've pretty much already got this material already. But if you don't already own these albums and you want one set that's got pretty much everything as far as studio material in it goes, this set is pretty affordable and It's got just about all the studio albums and material that you could want from a Michael Schenker package. I'm really hoping eventually we'll get another box set like this that has the Macaulay Schenker Group stuff in it that came after the Michael Schenker Group. So even if you do buy this, again, you're still going to have to buy the 2 live albums, One Night at Budokan and Rock Will Never Die. Those got standalone reissues with bonus tracks. So if you buy this and then you go buy those 2 standalone releases with the bonus tracks, you'll probably be pretty much set. So I can definitely give this one a recommendation, but if you already own this material in some shape or form, whether you should spring for it, that's really up to you. How about you? Are you a fan of Michael Schenker? Do you think the Michael Schenker Group was one of the greatest eras of his career? What's your favorite album? What's your favorite song? Who is your favorite singer for the group? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content. I'm always posting new videos. And make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. I'll see you next time.